While the entire world went to sleep as a result of the luring effects of COVID-19 pandemic, the sea remained wide awake as the last resort for human survival to be sustained. And so, in compliance with the federal government's directives, port operations continued even when other means of transportation went on a compulsory but necessary break due to COVID-19. During this period, the Nigerian Shippers Council, the economic regulator of the maritime industry, ensured smooth running of the ports despite the pandemic. The council evolved strategies for ease of port operations during the lockdown.
And we knew right the moment when the president said ports should be operational, we knew we had our work cut out for us. And we jumped into the affray, so to say, try to balance the intricate issue of keeping the port operational and also maintaining safety. The first day, the port were open but no workers. Why? Because they couldn't get transportation. So we filled in the gap as much as we can.
To achieve success, precautionary measures were enforced during the period to forestall the spread of the virus and avoid community transmission at the ports.
We were every day at the port. We didn't sit down in our office. Shippers Council posted its staff, to every terminal. No observance of any protocol and so on. But because Nigerians were kept outside all these agents, in a very terrible atmosphere, we have to really, almost shut some shipping companies. We told them to bring accommodation, nice accommodation for people to sit down, distancing, hygiene, temperature, something. And at one time, we even decided maybe we should close. But then they started obeying, and that was also very critical.
Sensitization was another major tool explored to keep all workers enlightened on the need for basic hygiene. To achieve this, tisers and face masks were distributed and offices fumigated as recommended by health experts. However, it wasn't a smooth sail all through the lockdown, because even the peaceful sea experienced some turbulence by way of challenges encountered with transportation of goods from one point to another, lack of bank operations, extra charges, among others. But prepared as they were, the Nigerian Shippers Council, in support of other government agencies, tackled emerging issues headlong.
The banks were not working at all. We had to scramble, go meet the MDs of certain banks who were very, very graceful and opened some branches in Apapa, about 4 or 5 banks open, but even the banks were not operating fully, skeletal services. Then the customs. Nigerian customs, provide the backbone for the port operation at that time, because after meeting with the Controller General of Customs, he deployed all customs to be there, not only on weekdays, but also on public holidays and weekends. But then we also went into the economic side of it, trying to see if demurrage could be waived during those times, because it was impossible to operate. The shipping company said, no, the port were open. We told them the port was not open. It's not optimal opening. And so people cannot be charged with demurrage because it's not their fault. They are working against odds.
With the lockdown over and the federal government working hard to contain the further spread of coronavirus, attention is now shifting to relaunching the Nigerian economy, a trending topic on most table of national discourse. The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, says COVID-19 offers a chance to turn challenges to opportunities in the maritime industry. According to him, the lessons learned from the situation has repositioned the council to run an efficient port which will now operate 24 hours daily with a multi-modal operation and delivery of cargoes.
What is important is what lessons have we learned? What lessons have been forced on us? And at the Port Economy Regulator, I would like to say the following. Number one, we found out that the Nigerian ports could run 24/7. We want to carry out a recce of what's possible for us to have 24/7 operations. If we have 24/7 operations, then we may have a semblance of efficiency. We are able to also demonstrate that we can have multimodal evacuation and delivery of cargo to and from the ports. Because at that time, we made the train work during the COVID something. There were 1 or 2 train services to the port, and then the barges, and then the road. So these 3 modes of transportation, if we deploy them, on which we are doing, there are 38 trucks will be removed for every trip by the train, which means you have less trucks. Do you know the implication? The implication is we may not have, first of all, we may not have all these trucks. Secondly, the cost, because railway is going to give the truckers a run for their money. That means we are going to have competitive, pricing, which is very important to us, important for this economy. Okay, so we have easy evacuation of cargo, fast evacuation of cargo, which means our dwell time, which is now at 2021, we want to reduce it to 7.
The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, while briefing journalists on the way forward, noted that the ports in Nigeria must be digitized to reduce human contact for safety, efficiency, and faster delivery.
The port itself must be digital, because what we have realized is contact is the thing that is spoiling the port. Physical presence of men. And you don't have it in any port. We need to have a digital port. We need to have contactless port. We need to have paperless port. What we have found out during this COVID was almost all the workers, freight forwarders going to the port could as well have sat down in their office and transacted. They are looking for expected time of arrival of their vessels. They are looking for rotation numbers of the vessels. They are looking for many other things, which they could sit down in their homes. And there are terminals in Nigeria that are almost 80% digital. So that is our focus now by March next year. Yes, that's what our target is. We're already about 60% average. So it's just to put it up. By that time, we'll have the cargo tracking node, we hope, which will make things easier, simpler.
It doesn't end there, as there will be integration of government agencies to work in harmony, while consolidation of port operations will be issues to be looked into.
They must all have linkages. So one integrated system, and this what is the port community system, which is a harbinger to national single window. We must, allow this, and we are struggling now. We are working hard. We have already started assessing those ports that are very digital, as you said, so that we can use it as a benchmark, for others, and said, look, shipping companies, you have to make these transactions online, and we give them time. Otherwise, there will be sanction. We tell the freight forwarders, and working with the freight forwarders has also exposed us to so many things. They are very, very vital. They are important to this economy. Also truckers, the economy rests on them at that time, and everyone is important. But what I fear is certain aspects, freight forwarding, must be professionalized and consolidated.
COVID-19, the Executive Secretary says, is an eye-opener for Nigeria to look inward and embrace more of exportation and less importation of products.
We need to simplify the port processes. So many documents, so many bank going around the bank before you submit, or you have not done that. It could all be done in a single document. We have to make our ports efficient and competitive so that we draw cargo. The more throughput we have, the more our economy grows. And this is either ways. We want to see more export, or at least a semblance of level, between import and export. We have to export. We cannot be import-dependent economy.
But here, the support of the Central Bank of Nigeria is required for the maritime industry to do much more.
Is to appeal to Central Bank to also look towards our direction. It is interfering in aviation, is doing in agriculture, is doing in even the movie industry or entertainment and so on. But here is an industry that will give oil a run for its money if properly managed. We are talking about 7 trillion per annum industry. That is the maritime transportation industry. So I want Central Bank to look no further, than the logistics of it. The logistic chain must be supported.
Other projects to be completed are the deep sea ports, the inland dry ports, and the national carrier.
2 new important ports will operate in 2021. The Lekki Deep Sea Port and the Ibom Deep Sea Port. These are very, very important contribution of government on PPP, public-private partnership, because Lekki itself will create about 180,000 jobs. The same thing with Ibom. But Shippers Council is always alert. What type of port are we going to have? There are conventional ports and there are modern ports. We cannot make the mistake of Apapa and Tinker. We should banish that. So that's why we are very critical. We welcome the idea. With time we had the deep sea port because of the advantages. Larger ships will bring cargo cheap, something. Yes, economies of scale, draft 16 meters above, so the cost of bringing container will reduce, but we have to make it a port that has character and characteristics. We have to make it a port of vision and ambition of Nigeria's economy.
Pushing for the domestication reform and regulation of some international instruments that will help in setting Nigerian ports on international standard is another area that will be highlighted.
But we are pushing some legislations. Legislation are important for us to have. We are pushing for the domestication of the Facility Convention of the United Nations. FAL Convention is arrival, stay, and departure of ships. Okay, so that they don't waste time, so that we will know what the ships do. We are also going to push for another act or a bill for carriage of goods by land. Carriage of goods by land bill, which will regulate the conveyance of cargo in Nigeria.
Although the maritime sector, like many others, was affected by COVID-19, the lessons learned will play a crucial role in changing and reviving the industry in Nigeria for a more efficient and effective service delivery.